Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Work at Home Rockstar Podcast. Very excited for today's guest. This one's very interesting. He's the owner of Market Capture Consulting. He's also the author of a book called Charm Like a Narcissist. Very excited to hear about that a little bit later. But what he does is he helps people be their most charismatic self. Very excited to be rocking out today with Ibrahim Dar. Hey, are you ready to rock?
I am, and thank you for having me. Let's rock together.
No problem. Let's start off with a good note. So tell me a story of success in your business that we can be inspired by.
Okay, so I started my business literally in the same month we had the worldwide lockdown. So what happened was I resigned from my head of marketing job in high fashion, and I had already notified my boss. When I joined, I said I'm joining for 2 years, and after that I'm gone. Get out of me as much as you can. I do not. She to retain me, but I told her that I was serious. I had planned for like 4 years. I wanted to tell him this. I was just trying to get they didn't decide to get to marry at that level of influence. My mother was just was like, the job, please go back. They're asking you to keep to retract your resignation letter. And she kept insisting that I go back. And I said no. I kept saying no. And then one interesting thing happened, which was the lockdown. Suddenly, no clients in Dubai or Abu Dhabi were available. And then suddenly, my mother had one more reason to ask me to go back. I still insisted that no, I'm not. And then when my business became successful, well, she takes complete credit of raising me right, which is apparently responsible for my business's success because we are among the top 20% producers in businesses of our size in Dubai. So it it just was interesting seeing her just insist on me not doing something, and when I did it and it worked, suddenly she was of the opinion that her raising me right was what got me that success. So it's nice. Ultimately, people who love you are going to be risk averse when it comes, because they want to protect you from risk more than they want to see you go to the next level, because we have a way of rationalizing how the current level is good enough. So I had already decided that it wasn't, that I wanted to have my own business so I could literally just be at home and do my thing from home. Ultimately, business is about providing value. So as long as I could do it from home. And then suddenly this lockdown happened. And while everyone was thinking that's a sign that my move to start my business, Market Capture Consulting, was the wrong move, I saw it as a sign that it was the right one, because at heart I wanted to operate my business from home. And suddenly the government was like, you cannot operate from anywhere else but home. And I was like, wow, this is the first time I'm in agreement with the government. So the business worked because first I tried to do ads, and then everyone else in the world was doing ads. I was like, oh my God, this is not working. No one wants to hire us for ads, and even when they do, they want to pay us like dirt cheap rates. That's not worth it. Then I tried to do content production. The thing about shooting videos and shooting audio is that you kind of have to be there. So it's hard to do that for clients in Canada and US when I'm sitting at home, right? It's hard to, there are certain jobs that you cannot do from home, like construction worker. You cannot be a work from home construction worker unless you're building the home in which you are. So that's the only condition in which you can be a work from home construction worker, if you're building your own home. So this had become one of those things. So I rejected that, even though it could have worked. And then I picked something that was nearer to my heart, which was personal development industry. I started marketing personal development industry personalities. And of all the services they required, one of the most requested service was writing books. So it turns out it's easy to run your mouth, and that's why anyone can be a coach. But if you have a book and you're a coach, you're more credible. Suddenly there were people who were not willing to put in the effort, and wherever there is laziness, there's your opportunity for success, because you can enable that laziness. And that's where market capture consulting became a ghostwriting business. I was the freelancer working in a solo business, and I wrote about 25 books, and I had enough money to pay the salary of 2 full-time employees for the whole year. And that's when I hired 2 full-time employees, and then we just started scaling from there.
Wow. I actually took notes on that. That's great.
Thank you.
No, that's a really good story. And you definitely hit the nail on the head, especially with the part about your family and your friends being risk adverse. Oh, geez, starting a business is so hard with that. And then once, after a while, yeah, you're right. They take credit for your successes, even though at the beginning.
Yeah. Suddenly, everyone is of the opinion that they knew you were going to make it.
Oh yeah. Oh, I knew you'd make it. You'd be fine. Yeah, and you can remember back. I'm like, I wish I had recorded that conversation.
So I guess the number one takeaway for your listeners, guys, right now is that always keep a recorder on you and record whenever someone is discouraging you. Okay, because ultimately you'll need to play those. You need the receipts.
Yeah, exactly. I had another guest say that too, that you get all this discouragement in the beginning, but it's funny that once you get to the point where you're actually doing well, you never really want to go back. I have no desire to go back and say I told you so's to people. I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
It's one of those things that I think maybe you're right though. Having a recorder, I think it probably would give you just that little bit of extra like accountability of going like, you know what, I got this recording. I know I know I can make this happen.
Tim, my English teacher, actually there was a short story writing competition, and at the same time I had watched some cartoon that had inspired me to be a writer. So I was just writing like the worst story I could write, like literally characters, nothing. It was like this is happening and that is happening and that is happening. It was like a childish thing written by a child, but it was judged as if it was written by an adult. Like I gave it to my teacher, and my English teacher just really didn't even make it through. She threw it away, and she literally just basically said that, look, this is not for you. And I tried 11 times, 11 times. And with each time, she was like throwing it away. Even the 11th time, she threw it away. But by the 11th time, I just decided that I'm not going to listen to her anyway. So I don't even need her approval. I'll just do my thing. And here's an interesting thing. Towards the end, when we had board exams, the thing about board exams is that they are judged by a board and not the teacher. And that means that the teacher's assumptions of you don't play into, those biases don't play into the marking. But guess what? She was of the opinion that I wouldn't even get a C grade. And she said that if you get any grade higher than C, I will resign. And she literally said that. And I actually got an A. No, I didn't. I actually get an A. And that was one of those instances where I actually felt like going back to the teacher and saying it. And I literally said it, and she just pretended to have amnesia. She's like, oh, good for you. Very nice. And literally, she didn't even acknowledge that she had said something so horrible to me. But I was like, it's just that, just looking back, and the fact that I once wrote a story that was so bad that it could have kept me from becoming a writer altogether is just what keeps me going. Because a lot of people, I try to connect with as many people as I can, because pretty much everyone has one failure that they've taken so personally that they're not trying again when they have the potential to excel if only they try again. Yeah. So I just want to bring that message to people, as many people as I can. And part of Charm Like a Narcissist message is not just to be a narcissist. Of course, that would be obnoxious. But the thing is, a narcissist doesn't take failure personally. A narcissist, first of all, aims high. Second, doesn't take failure personally. And that means that gives him the luxury to repeat the attempt. And what happens when you aim high and keep repeating your attempts? No wonder most CEOs are narcissists.
Yeah, you get better. Yep. Yeah. Well, we're gonna get to your bad note in a second, but first, I think the one major takeaway that I take away from these detractors, these people that kind of put you down, is that what we notice is that if it really means something to you, like if it's really a passion of yours, doesn't matter what they say. Because like you just said, everybody that you talk to that's had some success has had somebody who tried to tear them down in the beginning, but they just kept on going. So the one thing they all have in common is that it was what they really wanted to do. But if it really does hurt you and you want to quit, well, then maybe it isn't for you, you know, because if it was, you wouldn't care. You would just keep moving forward. And so, you know, it's one of those things where it's sort of like, I think it's kind of a balancing act of like, is this, you know, is this hurting me because it's not for me, or am I supposed to push through this? And actually, how would you handle that?
Okay, so Mark Manson, the author of The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, has an interesting take on this, where he says that basically there's process and there's the end result. If there's something of which the end result you like, but the process itself you don't, then it's probably a fantasy, because you don't even know the reality of that life. Like, so many people are like, I want to be a Hollywood actor, and you cannot even memorize your own birthday. It's like, those two things don't go together. You have to like memorize 60 pages to just get 60 minutes. So if that life, because that's what you're going to be doing most of the time, you'd be auditioning and you'd be memorizing things that you'll not use past the audition, and you'll be getting rejected 90% of the times, even as a B-list celebrity. I've worked with some B and C-list celebrities in like their press conference preparation and stuff. And basically, they spend 90% of their time literally auditioning and getting rejected, okay? And if that's not what you want to do, then maybe you should just hire a bunch of actors and have a movie premiere night, pretend role play, because that's what you want.
Yeah.
Like, you want to, right? If you actually want to have, you want, similar for Instagram influencers, if you want to truly have influence, you start with 3 people and you care about them enough to give them good content, and you act as if you already have 10,000 followers. You give them that level of quality. But if you just want that number of 10,000 and that dopamine hit, just go get fake followers. The process defines whether you actually are into something or whether you just have fantasies about it. Because you can have fantasies about a million different things. And the problem is, Michael Jordan is a basketball player. See, the problem is Michael Jackson is a singer. So these are people who have well-rounded personalities, may be interested in a million different things. Michael Jackson might be into magic. Michael Jordan might be into whiskey. They might be into a million different things, but there's only one thing that they will do on a world-class level, the one thing that we will see them as. They aren't just one-dimensional characters. They're just as elaborate as you and me, but they had to pick one thing. That means they had to say no to everything else. So if you're picking that one thing, it better be the thing of which you like the process, not just the end result, because you don't spend a lot of time in the end.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah. And I mean, that's applicable even just to the process of being self-employed and working from home, because there are a lot of like, you know, I love what you just said there. That's a great way to look at it, because, you know, you might say, oh, I really want the lifestyle. You know, I really want the, but that's
because
not...
apparently it's a lifestyle of freedom. It's a lifestyle of, I get to travel anywhere. I get to decide my hours. I get to skip on my hours. The thing is, it's all of those things can be done, but they come with consequences as well.
Yeah.
So it's a lifestyle of like tightrope between deciding your own geography, but also having to be accountable to yourself, and that's harder than being accountable to others. It's literally much harder.
Agree 100%. It's so much easier. I joke about this before, because in the beginning I used to talk about my calendar as though it was my boss, because it's so much easier to blame your boss. Oh, I can't do that today because my boss, you know. However, when you're self-employed, you know, you have to blame yourself. Oh, it's so difficult. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you cannot just not work. You're going to go broke.
Exactly. Exactly. And you might even work longer hours initially than your 9 to 5. You know, you need to build that client, well, not the client base, but you need to have that referral base. We'll talk about when we talk about cash.
Yep.
But you need to build your testimonial base. You need to earn trust. You cannot come into working from home with a sense of entitlement.
Yeah. So now, what about the bad notes? So so many mistakes happen, and I just right up front try to normalize it as much as possible, because if you're going to go into business for yourself, you're going to make mistakes. So can you like share with us a something that a big one that just didn't go right, and how you recovered from it, how we can avoid it, something like that?
Okay, so I have a story from business, but I believe the takeaway from that will not be as impactful as a story I have from my childhood where there was a major failure that could have literally stunted me. So is it cool if I go with that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so this was when I wasn't working from home because I wasn't working. I was a kid. Okay. But this is still a failure story. And that might be a bit of a spoiler, but spoiler alert, whatever. So I wasn't I wasn't born a public speaker. I was born a baby. And I was like every other baby, I cried for milk, right? But as I was growing up, some people became more outgoing because they weren't chastised for being socially awkward. So they got to decide in under lower stakes what is okay and what's not. And they got to be well-rounded people who were confident. For me, I got chastised for small mistakes, social mistakes, saying the wrong thing. And then that just kept me from being a public speaker, even though it's quite literally in my genes, because my grandfather was the village, like one of the village elders, and then my dad was like an international scholar, and then I should have been this confident kid, but I wasn't. I was a shy kid. And then one day I got picked to speak in front of 200 people at my school assembly. You already know where this is going, but I got excited about it. I got excited about it because I didn't even think about it like being a possible failure. So what happens is I write my speech on sustainability. Well, to be honest, I Wikipedia my speech on sustainability and copy that thing, right? And that's how you should do it as a student. I actually memorized the whole thing, and I just went on stage and I said, ladies and gentlemen, well, actually, it was an all boys school. So it was gentlemen and gentlemen, I'm Ibrahim Dar, and that's it. I literally forgot the first word. And because I forgot the first word, I forgot the second, third, and everything that follows. And then to make it worse, I started crying in front of 200 people.
Oh no.
And dude, right now, look, man, it's like 10:30 p.m. here in Islamabad, and I'm exhausted because I had a long work day, and I still look bearable. You can look at this mug, right? But dude, my crying face is a proper ugly crying face. And the assembly announcer let me put it on display for a whole minute before he decided to take the mic away.
Wow.
And then, in those moments, it's your friends whose support matters the most. And when I got down, fortunately, my best friend Wasif was there. And I was like, Wasif, that was kind of bad, wasn't it? And he's like, bad? No, that was worse than my dad's divorce. And it hurt, but it hurt more because that divorce was so fresh. It was like literally 3 months before. And he just called this worse than that. So my self-esteem was through the floor. I went to my class, and the first teacher was Mr. Ruffy. Now, Mr. Ruffy was the Swiss Army knife of teachers, right? Whenever there was a soft subject, social studies, send Ruffy. English, send Ruffy. Religious studies, send Ruffy. Any soft subject, that send him. He was a pretty cool guy. He wasn't like that English teacher who said those things to me. So he comes in and he says, congratulations, Ibrahim. And I thought he was making fun of me or being ironic. I'm like, what congratulations? I cried in front of 200 people. He said, no, you said your name in front of 200 people, and you've never done that before. And that reframing, because I had defined success as giving a Steve Jobs level keynote, right? Steve Jobs level keynote on my first attempt, and that's impossible. So when I fell anywhere shorter than that, I just considered it a failure. But if I were to compare that quote unquote failure to my previous performance, which was nothing, it was still a step forward. And that reframing, that positive idea, allowed me to try again and again and again. And eventually I got to be I got awarded the best speaker award 3 consecutive years in a row. The first student to do it in my school, and to this date, 16 years later, the only student to do it. And again, all credit goes to Mr. Ruffy and him giving me that positive perspective at that right time. And I'm so passionate about bringing similar ideas to people daily. That's why, like my blog, every single day, I'm going to post something positive just so people get, like, I don't know who might be an Ibrahim who might need that reframing in that moment. So, yes, this was a failure. It was an epic failure, but I just got to rethink it thanks to Mr. Ruffy right at that time.
Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, so you want to be Mr. Ruffy now. It's
Yeah, yeah, I
amazing.
just want to scale. I just want to scale Mr. Ruffy's impact, basically.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing though. Like, and it's interesting that you've got something from, two things from two different teachers, the total opposite
Oh
response,
yeah,
and
yeah.
both of them ended up being massive motivations for you.
Yes, yes, yes. And I think for different people, it's different things, and you get to see if negative, like people, if the underdog angle helps you, or if it's just supportive people angle that helps you, and whatever it is that's natural to you, lean into that. I truly believe into looking at yourself. So maybe for me, like proving people wrong, that kind of thing does not matter as much to my motivation as just someone acknowledging, oh, this is the right thing. Like, so support matters more to me. But if you're a Michael Jordan, right? If you're Michael Jordan, if you've watched his documentary, he had like the fact that he got rejected from the high school team is just motivating him, even though he's like a Hall of Fame level player.
Yeah.
Even then, that thing from that long back is motivating him. And for me, like I literally don't hold grudges, so it just doesn't work for me. But whatever works for you, just knowing that helps. It's like knowing whether your car needs diesel or just liquid petrol. Just knowing that helps because it will allow you to fuel your car.
Yep, exactly. So tell me, how do you get fans in your business? I mean, you can't get very far if you don't have anybody, looking at what
Mhm.
you're doing. So tell me how you go about that process then.
I have my strategy of not going big. That's my entire strategy, is to remind myself to keep to stay away from the instinct to go big or go the biggest. I literally started with one client. I deep discounted my service and said, I'm not gonna do a free trial, but I'm gonna do a deep discounted thing for a month. And if you like it, then this is my standard rate. And I gave that pitch to over like 3,000 people, and eventually one of them bit. And then I worked for him and he liked it. And for me, it was like I continued just serving that client so much that he brought me 20 more clients, and he literally asked me to scale. He actually, because it was the self-help industry, he had some experience, so he helped me scale as well. Now, my formula, literally, I've done it 2 times. I've done it with my confidence coaching business, in which I'm the solo practitioner, and my ghostwriting business, which is now handled entirely by my staff, and I'm the editor. I've done it 2 times, literally the same formula. So you cast a wide net within a defined target. You go try it 1,000 times, 2,000 times if you have to. You get one client, that's it, literally. But you don't pay for it. Don't do it with ads, because ads are for people who have $1 million budgets. So don't let the $7 or $1 click fool you, because those clicks won't convert and the math is not in your favor. So if you're starting out, you literally just start by getting one client and make sure it's one paying client instead of just getting fans, because 100,000 fans that don't pay might be harder to acquire, will take a lot of time, and then one fan might convert into paying. So why not start with a paying fan? And now when you have the money, you can spend it on marketing and get a fan following, get your content creation going on. But money is most important, and you have to start first with that. So you start with one client, you serve them well, and then you ask them to give you a referral. And then you do the same, you repeat this process. So the thing is, I lost 80 pounds of weight, right? And a lot of people asked me how I did it. And I told them it was through diet and exercise, and there was literally no follow-up question from any single one of them. Because people want a trick,
Yeah.
not something that's just straightforward. So this is not something new. This is just a confirmation that you start with your smallest audience and you serve them well as if you have a multi-billion-dollar business, and then they go out and they evangelize on your behalf. Dude, I have clients sending me like gift money just because I'm going to get married towards the end of this month. They don't have to do it. I have clients willing to record testimonials for me, even though I'm not asking them. Why? Because I serve them as if they are paying me what my ideal target income would be, which would be millions more than what I'm making per year right now. But still, I'm acting as if these clients are giving me that because they are. Indirectly, they are, because they're contributing to this level of success that will take me to the next level. So once again, this is the final time I'm repeating it, okay? Get one client, serve them well, ask them for a referral. That's it.
Love it. That's exactly how I got started. So I can tell
Hey,
you that it works. One
see,
client.
I'll tell you an interesting thing about this. See, not everyone, very few people in the world, 1 in 1,000 are those early adopters. When they see an email, they respond. When they see an ad, they click and they're like, let's go. And you cannot bet on getting 10,000 of those, because that would mean you'd need to reach 1 billion people. So you literally just have to cherish the one you get. And then when they refer someone, now it's the other clients are not expected to take a chance on a stranger. They're expected to take a chance on someone who's trusted by someone here.
Yep.
So the first client that you got, Tim, was someone who was okay testing it out with someone new or testing out new things. Such people are rare. So the fact that you didn't say, okay, I will give this person an average service and find someone else like him, was what's contributing to your success up until now. Because had you done that, this person would not be satisfied enough to refer any business, and then others would be even harder to find, because you really have to go through thousands and thousands before you find one comfortable person who's going to be okay responding to a cold email or a cold call.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And referrals, yeah, I mean, I can't talk too much about that, because it's just the night and day difference, between, I mean, every time I get an email from someone, actually, I usually get 2 emails. I get an email from my client, and then I get an email from their friend. The client says, hey, I just told my friend about you, you should be getting an email soon. Oh, yeah. And then when you get on the phone, it's just so much different than, having to go out there and I mean, I don't put out ads, actually. I'm about to start now, because I'm at the level where I think I need
eventually
to do that, right?
It's like it makes business sense eventually.
Yeah. But I mean, for the most part, it's just been all referrals. Every once in a while, I'll see a post on Facebook and I'll send a message going, hey, I saw you were looking for a web person, and send them a message about that. And that person is so much harder. But even then, it's usually a comment through a friend of mine. So I even have that thing, hey, I saw your post on what's his face's status, so you still have that referral. So yeah, absolutely. Now, speaking of tools,
I'll tell you something interesting. In our university, there used to be this guy who I'm just realizing that this kind of was unconsciously the strategy that he was executing. He was one of the nicest guys in the world to his girlfriend, and like everyone was envious, because like he'd do so much. He literally bought her a car, and like once we got out of like our class, because he was working at the time, not all of us were, and there was a car parked in the parking lot, and it literally had this bow like just stuck on it, and he just literally just tossed the keys to his girlfriend. And it was like everyone thought that that was the perfect relationship. And then it eventually came out that he had like slept with literally every one of her friends. Like there was like, it was a sad scene, but also hilarious because she like stopped him in the middle of the university square and she started like throwing names at him. And he was just like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And literally at the end, she was like, literally no one there was literally no one you didn't sleep with. And he was like, yeah baby, I'm so sorry. And that's all he was saying. But ultimately all the girls who were coming at him, and he was just saying, he wasn't saying no, were the girls who were just listening to stories about how amazing a guy he is from his girlfriend. She was literally unconsciously referring clients to this guy's bed. So ultimately, you just have to do that, but not by cheating your clients, as long as you fulfill your duties to that client and you're not exclusive to them, right? It's an open relationship.
Yeah.
Then you can get a lot more clients with the same strategy.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. It's a terrible story. Oh,
Yeah.
Anyway, so next topic is about his.
But she's happily married now. She's happily married now to a different guy. So as long as he doesn't do the same thing, it's a happy ending.
Well, yeah, and she learned what she doesn't want as well.
Yeah, I think she, yeah. To be honest, I've never heard her like post anything great about the guy. I believe she's learned her lesson and she's not referring anyone anymore.
Yeah, I find that interesting too, though, and you see that a lot on social media. I've sort of found that the people that post the most about their relationship tend to be the ones that end up not making it through. And there's probably some self-consciousness there, maybe some, but I mean, it might be exactly what you just said. I mean, you're basically just promoting your partner to somebody else, and eventually they're going to get too much attention, right? But social media is a tool, and there's lots of different tools and instruments that you can use to build your business. And I'm wondering, what about you? What tools do you use?
Okay, so what I've done is I used to have an Instagram with 10,000 followers, but here's the thing, literally social media didn't make me money. I just cold emailing got me one client, and then them referring other people got me more clients. So then when I realized that I'm not making money off social media and my business is not of the nature where I need 100 clients, I just need like 7 to 8 for the business to stay at its current level. I was like, I don't want to waste my time on social media. So guess what I did? I created an email list, let people subscribe to it, and then I literally threw away my entire social media. So I'm not on social media. I have a newsletter with over 200,000 people, and and it has one of the highest open rates, because I don't sell anything because my business is not that. But I still have my roughy moments where I send them ideas, hoping that one person reads it at the time when they need. And there's over 70% open rate for a daily email letter. Think about that.
Wow.
Like daily email letter,
Yeah.
over 70% open rate. And that's my tool, which I just use for reach, but I don't use it for business. For business, it's literally just referrals. And I want to stick to referrals because that holds me accountable to my clients. I have to give them high quality stuff, not have greener pastures, right? That idea of greener pastures, it's not necessarily just with physical geography. It's not when you're a freelancer and you want to work a job, or when you're stuck in a job and you want to work from home. It's in literally everything, including with clients. You might think that, oh, I'll just throw these clients away, get new ones, and they'll be so much better. No, all clients have their problems. So just serve the ones you have and serve them well enough to then righteously feel like you can ask for a referral.
Beautiful. Love it. And I would love to get rid of my social media. Social media is because I do get quite a bit of my business from social media, but it is very, very challenging because you get on your social media accounts, to go and respond to some messages, and you get sucked right into it. Like, and then next thing you know, you're wasting all this time. So I love what you're saying there, and I mean,
so which channel do you get the most clients from? First of all, what is your business?
So what I do is I build websites, and so
okay,
most of my clients come from Facebook at the moment. However, I am now refocusing that because I want to focus a lot more on LinkedIn. And the main reason, though, I will have to say, is because to me, Facebook has become something totally different than it was when I started,
Yeah.
10 years ago. It is more of a, I don't know, there's just a lot more opinions flying back and forth. And I find that when I look at my LinkedIn feed, it seems very focused on business and positivity. So that's just my opinion, though.
Okay, so usually the idea is basically you do whatever works to bring you clients, so you just continue doing that. And yeah, of course, while you test with LinkedIn, you can be open to the idea that LinkedIn is going to work better or not. But you're in this industry where you're basically, at first glance, you might be compared to someone who just learned how to do WordPress on YouTube. And that's a challenge a lot of people face when working from home and trying to get new clients, because you're not out there with your charm and charisma. All the stuff that's in my book, which will help people in in-person interactions, is missing in an email. So when you put out content, when you put out stuff like videos, you actually show more of yourself. And when people consume them, they get absorbed in. And that's what differentiates you, because they're like, it's the same difference between Brad Pitt and my friend who keeps asking me to show up to his like movie premiere, quote unquote, and I just keep making up excuses, right? So I hope he doesn't listen to the podcast. But the difference is I'm sucked into the content that features Brad Pitt. So I differentiate him without Brad saying, we're on first name basis, by the way, without Brad saying that he is different from my friend, the actor. So there comes a time when you don't have to say, hey, I, Tim, am different from these web designers who are just amateurs posing as professionals. Because the people who absorb your content already see you as that authority. So you have to do it. You have to do social media. I understand it. I don't have to do it because like my business is where there's, as you said at the beginning, that's not something a lot of people are doing. But if there are 100,000 confidence coaches and suddenly just the title of confidence coach automatically means just some person who's going to teach you how to be obnoxiously fake, I might have to start putting out content to, set myself apart.
Yeah.
But that's not happened in my industry. So I'm making use of it, and I'm like I'm able to do just client work right now, but there might be a time where I'll have to fire a few clients just to make time for social media, because that might be necessary.
It's time for your guest solo. I want to know about this book. Tell me what's going on in your business.
Okay, so I've already mentioned the story of Mr. Ruffy and how him telling me, allowing me to reframe that failure contributed to me being my professional speaker self. I just want to do the same for everyone. So now that my book has sold over 1,000 paperbacks, I've met my target. I'm not really even selling it, but people can get it for $9 on Amazon. It's Charm Like a Narcissist. It has a workbook, helps you become your most charismatic self. But you know what's better than spending $9 on a paperback? Getting a free copy, free digital copy of the book, and you're going to get it as listeners of Work From Home podcast, Work From Home, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'm going to do the pitch once again, but you have to tell me the name of the show once again. Work From Home, work at home or from?
Yeah, Work at Home Rockstar Podcast.
Okay, at home, work at home Rockstar. Okay. Okay. So you already heard my story about Mr. Ruffy and how him telling me the right thing at the right time helped me overcome what could have been the end of my professional speaking career. And it's because of him I'm here, and I want to do the same for you. And that's why I'm distributing big ideas in small posts, like 4 to 5 letters. And as long as you subscribe to my blog on imibrahim.com and you subscribe to it with the email on which you want me to send my book, you'll get my book for free. So what's this book about? It's called Charm Like a Narcissist. It's called Charm Like a Narcissist, and it allows you to take things that help these toxic figures build cult followings, build massive raving fan bases. It allows you to do that as a healthy person. And I believe more healthy people need to have followings than narcissists and sociopaths. So this book is going to change that. It's going to allow you to have that kind of a fan base. It's going to make you a social superstar. It comes with a workbook. You can get a paperback on Amazon if you like the ebook and the content and you want something physical to touch. That's the closest you will come to touching me, because I'm going to get married in like 2 weeks. Thank you.
Right on. Very exciting. That is so awesome. So what was that website again?
I am Ibrahim.com. And then they can just subscribe. I'll send you the direct link to the subscription page, or they can just hit from the menu, subscribe, and fill up.
Yeah, and you'll be able to get to that from the show notes as well. Awesome, awesome rocking out with you today, Ibrahim. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that I just left the chicken in my kitchen and I'm starving. So yeah, man, you made me forget that I'm starving and I have one meal a day, intermittent faster, right? So you made me forget that it's been more than 24 hours that I've eaten. So you're already an incredibly charming guy.
Perfect, perfect. Well, I still would like to read your book anyway.
Okay. Yeah, it will help you. You'll have those moments. So this is what I do. You already do these things, but it will help you see which ones they are.
Right on. Well, thank you again. And to the listeners, make sure you subscribe, rate, and comment. And we'll see you guys next time on the Work at Home Rockstar podcast.
Bye-bye.